Where health is our greatest wealth, one woman's vision has sown the seeds of change. Meet Chioma Echegwisi, the founder of Davichi Farms, an oasis of organic farming and sustainable living. In 2018, Chioma embarked on a mission to cultivate more than just crops. She founded Davichi Farms and Agrotech Nigeria Limited with a simple yet powerful goal: to provide health-conscious individuals with pure, organic produce grown in harmony with nature. At Davichi Farms, the land is nurtured with love and respect, yielding fruits, vegetables, and grains that are as wholesome as they are nourishing. Every product is a testament to Chioma's commitment to quality, sustainability, and the well-being of her community. Chioma's journey is more than a tale of entrepreneurship. It is a story of dedication to a healthier future. Through Davichi Farms, she's leading the way in organic farming, offering a fresh, vibrant alternative to conventional produce. Join us as we celebrate the inspiring journey of Chioma Echegwisi and Davichi Farms. This is more than a farm. It's a thriving ecosystem of life, health, and the promise of a better tomorrow.
My name is Chioma Echegwisi. I'm the founder and CEO of Davichi Farms and Agrotech Nigeria Limited. Davichi Farms was founded in 2018 and we are into agriculture. So Davichi Farms is an integrated farm located in Shimawa, Ogun State, where we do purely organic vegetables, poultry, and then we also have some bit of agrotourism. So every year we get to do Christmas getaway and we get families come spend the Christmas weekend on the farm. So it helps us to be able to connect people to their food, to the source of their food. Because a lot of people eat and don't even think for a moment how that food that they eat is grown. And that's why we're all about agriculture. And, I remember when I first started, thinking about going into agriculture, I just lost a very dear aunt to me to cancer. And then I realized that a lot of the food that we eat are filled with carcinogenic properties because they're grown with fertilizers. And so at that point, I made up my mind that I was going to grow food that were without fertilizers. Now I've done that business for about 6 years, 7 years, and I can truthfully say that I have grown food without fertilizers. And that's because it's for us at Davichi, it's our USP. It's our unique selling proposition that when you pick any of our products, it is free, and it is free of any of those substances. And that's why a lot of our customers patronize us today, because they're sure that what they get or what they want is what they are getting, and what we say we do is what we are getting. Of course, the business has not been without challenges, especially in a country like Nigeria, where we're so dollar denominated, and then when there's a crisis in one region of the world, we're crying because it's dollar is involved. It's our poultry business is so challenged because every day the cost of feed is continually going up, and that's because there's war in Ukraine, and so we can't get in wheat, we can't get in maize because we are importing all of those grains, so it has challenged the business. And then I actually want to use this opportunity to talk to the government. We need to shut our borders. Nigeria has the capacity to be able to grow its food. We can feed ourselves and we can feed West Africa. Let me not say the world, but we can feed ourselves, we can feed West Africa. And because today, poultry farmers can't even sell at cost because poultry is coming in from Cotonou and our borders are so porous, and then a lot of farms are shutting down. People are abandoning their businesses and going abroad to go and do menial jobs when we can actually be producing enough food for people to eat. So it's really been a challenge for us in the poultry business. And I really trust and I believe that someday we're going to be able to produce enough grains to be able to help our poultry industry in Nigeria. Of course, I've been in this business and I can truly say it's been rewarding. I tell people that agriculture teaches you patience. The fact that you can sow a seed to the ground and then you watch it sprout and you watch it grow and turn to food and you can actually harvest and eat. It's truly, truly a rewarding experience. And I want to encourage everyone. You don't have to own lands to grow food. On your balcony, at your backyard, you can grow food. Especially right now that we're having a food crisis in Nigeria, you can actually grow food. In those bags, in those broken buckets, in those broken cups, just put in that soil and plant your seed. With your little vegetables, you can actually have food and then be able to eat proper diet. Even if you are doing 001 or 101 or 00 or 101, But anyway, wherever it is that you're located, you can actually grow food because agriculture is truly, truly a rewarding experience. We watch people, we see that we're able to feed our community and then we're able to grow food sustainably because we do organic and we are an integrated farm, nothing goes to waste. So we're able to watch our carbon counts, and our carbon emissions, and then we are able to ensure that our environment is sustainable. We're growing food, consistently on the same land, and we're sure that everything around us is not being negatively impacted by our business. Even though agriculture has been a very rewarding experience, it's not without its challenges. In Nigeria, we live in a very patriarchal society, and then access to land is a major challenge. Because when you want to grow, when you want to buy land, you have to buy it at the same cost with someone who is into real estate. So there's really no, you don't have easy access to land. And for us to be able to grow enough food, we can't be farming in fragmented lands. We need a lot of land, that are put together to be able to grow food sustainably. The other is finance. Finance is a lot of challenge because a few times that we approach the bank to get facilities, you're asked to come with collateral, your land has to have title, you have to have CFO, and a lot of these agric lands that we use don't have title. They're in rural environments, they're not in Lagos, they're not in Abuja, because the banks will tell you Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. They're not in all of those places. And because the lands don't have title, sometimes you're not able to get funding to be able to run your agro business. The insurance companies, a lot of them are running away from, insuring agric businesses because they call us high risk. Yes, we're into primary production, and so, you're left at the mercy of nature a lot of times. And because we really don't have technology, because I believe that if we're able to get in technology into the things that we do, we'll be able to reduce a lot of our losses, especially our post-harvest losses. So we need the government to be able to support us with some of the policies that are being put out, with technology to be able to make us, run cutting-edge businesses, and be able to compete favorably with our counterparts in other countries. Then the other thing is everybody wants to do white-collar jobs. Nobody wants to work in the farm. So right now there's a challenge with getting skilled labor. Every young person who you approach wants to go to Lagos or go to Abuja or travel abroad. Nobody wants to work in the farm. So sometimes you get them from the rural areas to come in to work for you, and the next thing they have run away. So we need to be able to, just like they do in some other West African countries, where young people are trained to be able to work in the agric sector. We must become very intentional with training our young people and focus them towards the agric sector so that at every point we have skilled labor to be able to work on the farms. Like I said earlier, the agriculture has really been a rewarding experience for me. So aside making money, which is the ultimate about running any business is the fact that I see people live healthy lives and they are very focused on wellness. And that's why I'm so excited to do what I do and to be able to say that I do organic agriculture. And I have a vegetable here or a leaf here, and this is the leaf of soursop. Soursop is a very good antioxidant, and it's good in helping with the fight for cancer. It will give to you much more than what chemo, a round of chemo would do for you. And that's why I'm excited when people are calling and saying, oh, someone referred us to you and I need soursop or I need soursop leaf. I already know that at some point, probably there's a challenge. And because people have come to trust us and trust our brand, and that's why we keep getting referrals. Although I would really love a situation where we begin to make our food our medicine, so we do not have to swallow pills, because God says that everything He has given to us is for food. So as we eat and we eat healthy, we would not need those medicines, and then sicknesses will be far away from us as long as we join, our healthy living with healthy lifestyle.
All right, welcome back. I'm with Chioma the farmer. Why that name?
Well, I'm very passionate about agriculture,
Okay,
so I'd like people to identify me with that.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, what specifically are you passionate about when it comes to agriculture?
Well, I'm passionate about wellness, people
Okay.
living healthy lives, and then sustainability, about the environment, ensuring that we don't destroy the environment while we try to feed the nation.
And the name of your farm?
Davichi Farms and Agrotech Nigeria Limited.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah.
What is the agrotech part? And before you answer that,
Mhm.
what do you farm?
Okay, so Davichi Farm is an integrated farm.
Okay.
And when I say integrated, we do both live crops,
Okay.
livestock,
Livestock?
and cropping. So we do commercial broiler production, and then we're into farming of vegetables and fruits. We do goats, small ruminants, rabbits, and then we do catfish farming. Well, with the things we do, we're quite intentional because we are an organic farm.
Okay.
So our rabbit urine, we farm rabbit not just for the meat, but for its urine, because we use them as pesticides on the farm. And then the litters from the poultry are the inputs in our cropping section.
Oh,
Yes. So when you're peeling your yam,
yeah.
it's feed for the goats. The head goes back into the soil. So everything that we do, everything that we plant on the farm,
Integrated.
yes, is all integrated. And then we have a bit of agrotourism. We have young people come visit the farm on excursion. And then we have families also come spend weekends or holidays on the farm.
That's incredible.
Yes, so it's all encompassed. Yes.
How profitable is the business?
Well, I'll say that with what we do, it's quite profitable. Although the margins are small because we are primary producers, and then a lot of our market, because we're primary producers and we do commercial, our market is B2B. So at that point, you're having to deal with the middlemen and also the agro processors. So all of that profit
So the margin is taken by both middlemen
and the
and the
processors.
processor.
Yes.
So you're not even selling directly to the processor.
A lot of times, the middlemen have a contact with a lot more of the processors than you, the farmer. And really,
So they're like market makers.
yes, well, they create a lot of the market. So, and then because you are the primary producer, you're not adding value. So imagine I have a field filled with this and it's matured, or like the wedo, that once you harvest, 24 hours is all gone. You are forced to sell very quickly because you want to cut back your losses. But if I were adding value, I'll take my time and wait for when the market is right and I'll sell.
I mean, that's quite interesting because, we're in a country where recently food inflation has really gone off the roof.
Yes.
And I think this intricacy is important for everybody to understand how the prices stuff, food material, and then they come to you're saying as a farm producer that you guys are not really able to increase your prices anymore. But yet, go to the market and buy a box of tomato, a basket of tomato, and most people
Going up.
So, what is driving that? Is it it can be private producers. You guys, it's mostly private middlemen.
Well, it starts with us because we don't have a functional food seed bank in Nigeria. Okay, so let me give you an example. I'm planting habaneros. Last year, I could buy a pack of 500 seeds for about 20,000. Right now, I want to buy, and it's 58. They're imported from a company in Israel. Now, I want to buy that same pack of 500, and it's 58. And I did 28 last year. So what am I going to sell? And how am I going? And I'm not even certain that all of the 500 seed will germinate. So again, it starts from there. Now, a lot of factors. The labor can't be the same. A lot of the inputs can't be the same. The person, say for the poultry, feeds. The input in poultry is even crazier. Because feed costs, well, for the raw material that I use for the feed are mostly imported. We import grain, we import maize, we import wheat. Everything is imported. So they have to put in all of that into the cost of the feed. Now, the day old are being raised by foreigners who live here and who put those farms in rural areas where there's no light. So imagine, you have to hatch your eggs in 21 days, all on generator. How much are you going to sell a day? So all of that factor culminates to make the prices high. But unfortunately for the primary producers, you're competing with imported products that come in far cheaper than your cost of production in-house.
How does the imported?
Well, honestly, I think we'll have to find
Apart
out.
from the fact that they're probably not organic.
Well, I don't know. I think that possibly in some of those countries, they get subsidies, and then probably they get back loans at single digits, which is not something that is very common here in our commercial banks.
So now, thinking about what you said, as a primary producer, how do you manage all of those costs that heavily reliant on efforts because you import? Do you manage that?
Honestly, for a lot of farmers, we have to depend on reinvesting your capital. At every point in time, if you have to survive, because I grow poultry for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And I sell. Now, what I sell, the capital, my revenue is not enough to do that same quantity of birds again. Now I have to go get from my savings or possibly take a bank loan depending on the volume I want to do, because the prices have moved. So the cost, so imagine early this year we were buying a bag of feed at 16,000, 16,800. Today is 20,000. And the painful part is that the cost of broiler chicken per kg has not changed in that same proportion.
Okay, who decide on it? Because as you primary producer, your input cost has increased, so you don't have the flexibility to change your price.
So again, I would say it's the processors for poultry, it's the processors and the market. So they tell you have to benchmark your cost against the imported chicken.
How possible?
And if you're not benchmarking, nobody's talking to you. And I think that, again, there has to be some kind of pressure group that pressures, because they seem more organized. The processors, the market, they are more organized than the farmers. Now the farmers are fragmented here and there. A lot of the farmers do not have access to mobile phones, they're not on WhatsApp. All they're just doing is producing. So there's no way to be able to aggregate farmers to say, okay, this is what our cost is and this is what we should sell. We tried to do that when the borders were closed. Sometime this year, the borders to poultry product was closed. And at that point, farmers could sell at margins because everybody depended on the chickens that were locally produced. But soon after, the borders were open.
Is there capacity to produce or not?
We do have the capacity. A lot of farms are shutting down. 70%, yes, 70% of farms in Southwest are shut.
Because they can't compete with prices for the imported.
Yes. You won't put in your money and then you make loss after 2 months.
I mean, you mentioned that even you haven't grown chicken like 6 months or 3 months.
I haven't grown it.
The market prices.
Yes. Because there's no way I would definitely be making it loss.
So, I mean, how do you manage this apart from just deciding not to produce? How else do you manage the fact that you can determine your own price and your input cost also can go up
any direction? Okay, so for us in Davichi, what has helped us is because our business is diversified.
Okay.
So we're not a mono product organization.
Okay.
If we're just, based on the poultry, probably by now we have also shut down. But because we have other things that we do, like I said to you, we do agri-everything. We are into vegetables, and then we grow other things. It's easier to be able to manage the losses on that side, and that's what I've continued to encourage my colleagues in agriculture to diversify your income.
Okay, there's so much to talk about, but let's talk about loan accessing credit. How is that for you guys?
Okay, so like I was saying earlier, a lot of times our farmlands do not have CFO. They are in rural areas.
Okay.
And when you're approaching the banks are telling you, bring landed property or give us title to your land. And because you do not have title,
you need to go register in the local council.
Okay, so these farms, they a whole lot with first, aside from, I can even do a survey deed, do a title deed on my land. But then they also specify the location where they want this land so that it's easy to sell in case of difference.
But then we see
it has to be in Lagos, Abuja, or Port Harcourt. Yes. So they tell you Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. And a lot of these farms are not in Lagos, Abuja, or Port Harcourt. Even if they're in those places, they're in one interior in those places. And again, most farmers do not own their lands.
Okay.
They are always leased lands, so they cannot use those lands as collaterals.
So you
to get in
access credit.
It's not so easy.
Isn't it government driven or government backed kind of?
Well, we're supposed to have. We have an agreed bank, but how much or how well is the agreed bank doing? Because the agreed bank is supposed to understand every industry, know the intricacies for every industry, and know how well to be able to meet the farmers at their level. So there could be interventions.
Yeah.
Because the margins that you give a primary producer, if you give me a loan at double digits, I will only be working to pay back my interest because my margins are very small. If it's not single digits, we really can't compete.
All right. So there seems to be a lot of things that are not under your control. The fact that the pricing is not under your control, and you can't even control the cost of your input. All of those alone, I think, will complicate you managing
the production
process, and even your profitability.
Yes.
Because it seems like you can't even wake up and decide on your own margin. So it just complicates everything, and I just wonder how you've been able to stay afloat for the last 8 years. And let me allow you to answer that before I ask my bold question.
Okay. So, like I said, what has helped us is because we've been able to diversify our revenue.
Okay.
Our revenue streams. So we're able to take the hits from the poultry industry. For organizations that are mono product, it's a bit challenging. So, and then again, I think that as agro producers, we need to form ourselves into cooperatives, because I think that the banks may be able to be a bit comfortable if they can lend to cooperatives and they get the cooperatives to do on lending to their members who they can verify, and who they know. It's easier to lend than just going as an individual to a bank. Except you're very big. You are big. For a business like mine, I can get to the bank and lend. Maybe because I have a bit of banking experience.
Okay.
So I have been able to organize my business so
Not
that...
a bit, you have a bank.
Okay, so no. So I've been able to, because a lot of farmers I interact with don't do bookkeeping.
I see.
They know what they put in, and so there's nothing to show that I do this volume of business. Yeah. So at the point that the banks are saying, show us your traction, they really do not have anything to show aside from what they're saying. And it's not, the banks do not have that much patience to come and start flipping books. So there just has to be a way that we're able to organize our businesses to position us to be able to get funding. And aside from loans, I think that the agro sector needs a lot of grants and government subsidies in it. And I mean, when I mean subsidies, I mean to farmers, real farmers, and not portfolio farmers, because that's the challenge that we have had, with some of the government interventions that has come.
All right. So my bold question, which is probably the last one, is also that how do you, as a primary producer now, how do you cross over to becoming a processor and probably play in both across both the two categories, rather, so that in a sense you can take a bit of margin there and be able to improve on your profitability? Okay,
so that's the ultimate aim, and that's the goal. We intend to scale the business so that we're able to process everything we produce, not just the poultry, but even the vegetables, because when you process, you give it more shelf life. But a whole lot of things come to play. You go to a country like Ghana.
Yeah.
Ghana exports frozen vegetables abroad. But then in Nigeria, we do not even have the facility in our airports to take in frozen agro products. If you take it there, it may go bad before it is shipped. So a whole lot of things come into play. It's something that we can do if we have the right, like I said to you, everything rises and falls on technology. Technology is very important, because I produce 10,000 birds. I can decide to process everything, but I must also be able to be sure that it is going to be efficiently used, so that it's not just once in 2 months that processing plant is used. Otherwise, it really doesn't make economic sense. You understand? So as I am setting up that plant, I must be sure that I have a hub of other poultry farmers that are also going to be using it at a fee that is not so ridiculous. And then I have the market that can take it, because, or you are able to partner with people, because that's the ultimate aim. And I preach, and every time I speak to farmers, I tell them, think of adding value to whatever you produce. You're doing cassava, you're producing gari or fufu. Add value. When you add value, you make more. And and we can actually get that if we're able to form ourselves into hubs, So I have a farm in Shimawa, and I'm able to aggregate other farmers who are doing similar things in Shimawa, and we have just a processing plant, and everybody can bring their produce. So we're not under pressure to sell to just anybody. We can add value and wait until when the market is right. But then it's not something an individual or just any individual. You need a lot of government support. And again, we need technology.
Technology. There's so much I want to discuss with you, but we don't have time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.